Hi everybody, welcome back to Lifting the Lamp. So today I'm continuing the series on the work on oneself, and I'm talking about the work on anger. And the purpose of this video is to talk about whether it's normal to get angry, whether it's okay for a spiritual person to get angry, and if anger is natural, how then should we relate to it? Of course, anger is a very unpleasant emotion to feel, and nobody wants to be angry. But some people take things to an extreme in terms of saying that if you want to be a spiritual person, you're never allowed to get angry about anything. You have to be all rainbows and sunshine and butterflies and love and light and sunlight. And if you don't have that kind of disposition all the time, then you're not really spiritual. And I think that that is nonsense, and it's an idea that we need to dispense with. It's really dangerous to deny that we feel anger, because that won't make anger ever go away. It just bottles it up and means that we make ourselves sick because we're afraid to express something that we're feeling naturally. But there are many times where we may feel anger and our anger is unjustified, or it is an overreaction to the situation. And that is a problem. But there are other situations where it would be only natural for us to feel anger. If you saw my recent video on the situation in Ukraine, there was a bit of anger in me in that video. I was angry about innocent lives being lost. I was angry about tyranny and dictatorship spreading its tentacles like some monstrous octopus over the world and trying to crush the human spirit. And that is a justified anger. But I was very careful to not channel that anger into calling for more violence or more war, but into something constructive about ways that we can look forward to a freer, more open future and feel empowered and encouraged by the people standing up for what's right, and we should direct our energy towards that. When we go through life and we consume content that is about spirituality, about spiritual teachers or gurus, we get this sort of stage-managed image of what a spiritual person is like, and we get this impression that spiritual people are so high up in the clouds, so far above the concerns of the world that they don't react to anything, and they're always in this sort of Zen state. But it's not true. I heard a story a while ago about the personal life of the Dalai Lama, and there was a story about how from time to time the Dalai Lama would get angry. And when I first heard this story, I thought it was quite curious, and the assumption that I made about the story was, it must be something about Tibet. The Dalai Lama is upset about the oppression of his people by the Chinese Communist Party, who illegally occupied and took over Tibet in the 1950s. Of course he'd be angry about that. Who wouldn't? But as I actually investigated what the story was, the thing that the Dalai Lama was getting angry about was mistakes that his staff had made, that he was displeased about. So a very seemingly insignificant thing that a spiritual luminary perhaps wouldn't be expected to get upset about. But even the Dalai Lama can have bouts of anger. This is a person who is the 14th reincarnation of a Lama who is supposed to be themselves a manifestation of Avalokitesvara, the thousand-handed bodhisattva of compassion. So many believe the Dalai Lama is a living bodhisattva or even a living Buddha, and yet even he can get angry at times. And moreover, angry about things that are really trivial or insignificant in the grand scheme of things. So if someone like the Dalai Lama can get angry, there's not much hope for the rest of us. But if we get angry, that's fine. That doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you lesser. It doesn't make you less worthy of perceiving yourself as a spiritual being. All that it means is that we've identified an emotion that we feel, and we need to have a relationship with that emotion which is constructive. A relationship with that emotion in a way that is not going to get us into more trouble. So how do we do that with anger? Well, as Johnny Rotten once said, anger is an energy. And if you want to draw an analogy in terms of what the energy of anger feels like, it's really like a fiery, combustible kind of energy. And so it can be used to blow things up, or it can be used to power engines, which allow us to do things that are constructive and can bring benefits to other people and change things for the better. And it's the same with the way that we direct our anger. If we feel ourselves getting angry, the first thing to remember is that we don't have to react straight away. If we just take a breath, we spend a few seconds not reacting and just sitting with the feeling, then we will be able to respond in a way that is much more constructive. And generally speaking, the longer you wait after you've become angry, the more you can collect your senses and the more level-headed you can be in your response to that situation that made you angry. And sometimes when that time has passed, you will see that you became too angry at a situation and you need to dial it back a bit in terms of how you respond. Other times you may see that your anger was justified because it was anger at an injustice, in which case you need to think about how can you respond to that injustice in a way that is not retaliatory, not a disproportionate act of revenge, but directing that energy that you have roused in you in creating a better situation and solving the problem that you've identified. So that is the basics of how we can manage anger once it has been aroused in us, as inevitably it will be, because we're human beings and sometimes we get angry, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's what we do with it that is the problem or the solution. So that's my thoughts on anger. If you've got thoughts on this topic, leave your comments down below as usual, and please subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time.